Welcome to the Practice Podcast, conversations probing the nature of practice. I'm your host, Dave Fearon. This conversation with Connor Clark, who is a fitness coach, trainer, entrepreneur, soon-to-be podcaster, was really an eye-opener for me because I recognized in the course of the conversation that there's a practice called fitness, our own practice of becoming and staying fit, which bolsters every other practice we may love to be doing. Stronger, more balanced, and all the other things that happen when we are in a regular fitness regime, and if possible at a gym like the gym that he and his brothers have opened and developed. Life could go a lot better for me as I'm looking at my 80th year coming up, and anyone else who's listening. So a lot to be learned in a conversation with someone who not only gets people to a point where they are feeling a lot better about their overall health and well-being, but is a constant learner at the same time. Folks, there are probably more ways of expressing oneself in practice than we could ever count. One of them, which I admire, is being fit. Fitness itself is a practice. The individual has things to learn, things to do, and results to achieve, hopefully on a progressive basis. And in that practice, there's a whole profession of people who help us be fit. And Connor Clark Fitness here in Connecticut is just such a place. But I've met him a couple of times through my friendships with the folks in Purpose Practice and the Fathom SIP conversations. And I know that Connor takes his fitness training to a different place and a higher level. Is that so, Connor? And welcome.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'll take the compliment. That's something that I try to live up to every day.
Do you agree that there's levels of fitness that you can yourself and help others achieve that are perhaps beyond what us ordinary folks imagine?
Absolutely. I think in today's age, fitness, there's a lot of different images and thoughts that come to mind for people. In my head, fitness comes down to just living an active lifestyle, whatever activity might be included in your life, but also engaging in activities that are fun, number two, and also help you live a longer, more robust life. So I do believe that I try to bring and guide my clients towards that peak, and it looks different for everybody. And the levels, there are certainly very, very deep levels that I've learned through my studies and my practice myself. But not everybody needs to go so far, so deep. I like to meet people where they're at. And a lot of times people will let you know when they're interested in more, and they're like, keep talking, keep telling me. And you can kind of show them and open up the doors and be like, oh, you didn't know that this was like that. And they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. And some people, it's just like, I just like coming in, breaking a sweat, having fun. You don't have to explain it to me. Just let's do this.
When in your life did you consolidate your interest in what you've just expressed and commit yourself to being in the fitness practice? Do you remember when that started?
Yeah, I first started lifting weights. It started for me, I started doing bodybuilding training. I found a program online from bodybuilding.com with a guy named Chris Gethin. And I worked out with one of my high school friends, my senior year in high school. I graduated, went to Eastern Connecticut, and my first year and a half didn't have a major, but it might as well have been, living in the gym, just working out, because that's all I did. I loved it even then, but throughout that year and a half, I didn't really decide that like this could be something I could do. I don't know when that moment was that I clicked and said, I'm going to study exercise science, but that is what I did. And it was a very vigorous, education. I had a great teacher, and that led me to an internship out of college. And it, really just shot me into the fitness industry.
And it is a very big industry, isn't it? As far as your job opportunities and career paths, here in Connecticut, we're very fortunate. It seems we have some very fine clubs and other facilities pretty much close to all of us. And yet here I am sitting in this chair. I'm not, I play golf every morning. But that's something. But I have over the years been using some of these facilities to great benefit. But you, given all of that choice that we have developed something that makes you more distinctive and stand out among the other fitness coaches. As that's what I've heard. That's why I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
What's your more special way of interacting with people so that we get over our own self-limited behaviors?
Definitely. I really apply so many things that I've learned in my life into my approach for people. And I like to call myself a coach rather than a trainer. It seems kind of minute, but the coach really fits my approach. What I would do, what makes me different and my approach different is, I've been where so many people have been that come and see me, which is a lot of people are in pain. They're dealing with plantar fasciitis, and they think it's just I'll just deal with it. It's part of my life. I just wake up in the middle of the night, put my feet on the ground, and it hurts. And people kind of accept that, or they have sleep apnea, or they have shoulder pains. They've had injuries, something like that. So I address injuries a lot and help people move better and feel better in their body. And that ultimately came from my own experience with pain in my body. It stripped me from being able to work out in the gym for a long time. And so it was really my own curiosity and me having to dig myself out of my own ditch that I dug myself into. I had to climb my way out. And it was a very long journey, but I learned a great deal. And when people come to me and they say, I want to move better, I want to feel better, I can put myself in their shoes and say, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been there. And now I'm in a much better place. I move better than I've ever moved before. And I feel better. I'm more in touch with my body than ever. And so I share what I've learned and all the movements and practices that I have with my clients. And it doesn't strip away the intensity or the fun that people think that something like that might. It's so engaging, I think, more than anything. It engages someone in the process.
Sounds very, very much of a personal attention that you give to your client or
absolutely
your new friend who wants your help in coaching. From an economic scale, if you had 50 people and they're all paying a fee and in the same hour, there's a nice yield, and one person versus 50 people.
Yeah.
But as you have designed, I assume, your business around this kind of personal approach.
Yeah.
How do you work the economics of that so that you're not charging more than a physician would for a visit?
Yeah. So, I've experienced you could call it like large group training. The most that I've really done outside of like a holiday workout, which, you kind of let things get a little bit larger than they can, you take what you get, like in a structured way, 25 people. And it's really hard to give people personal attention.
Of course.
You really kind of turn into either a half drill instructor, half cheerleader. And I think, that's a fun part of the job, believe it or not. But it's very shallow in my eyes as far as the role of a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's very simple to do those things and it's fun, but like, you can ask yourself, like, what's next, and it might be, well, there's someone over there that needs your help. Can you help them?
Mm-hmm.
And then the answer becomes like, do you have time to help them? And so you can spread yourself thin with a lot of people. And for that reason, I work with at most 8. All the group sessions that I do are capped at 8 people.
Okay.
From working from all the years that I have, I'm comfortable leading 8 people together.
That's a good number. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to
eye contact and for the one of being one of the 8, they also feel less exposed, if you will, to the large group, and probably develop some affinity with each other too, if they work out fairly regularly.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a small family of people, everybody's knows each other's birthdays. They, sometimes go out together. I've got people that are, best of friends, only from meeting at the gym. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I make it personal, and I make sure everybody gets the attention they deserve and they need. And, on an economic scale, I have different rates for different size of groups. So, if you want, because ultimately it does come down to attention. And so if there's 8 people, you get an 1/8 of the attention. If it's one person, you get all my attention. Yeah. And so it's more or less paying for my attention. And my attention is, you have it fully zoned in. I'm making every moment worth your time.
I said, as we said hello to each other in this conversation, that fitness is a practice unto itself. One has a number of things that we can elevate in our lives to the practice level. If we were elevating fitness into the mix of our most well attended by ourselves daily activities, life overall and other practices might go a heck of a lot better. So I know so many people, including myself, though, who can't sustain that practice of maintaining fitness. We have our cycles, and then we get busy with other stuff. Oh my goodness, I haven't even stretched. How do you help people keep the fitness practice up there in their attention, in their time, long enough, and perhaps forever, to have that feeling that you want them to have, and that vitality and all the other good things that go along with it?
Yeah, I think it's 2 things. I think one is meeting them where they're at, like not just giving someone, hey, like, oh, hi, this is my suggestion for you, without making informed, like not getting the information from them. And second is, education. I find that when people understand how something helps them and how it helps them stay fit, and how it helps them keep their heart healthy, and how it helps them maintain muscle mass, and how having muscle mass, increases, not just like your energy throughout the day, it decreases your body fat percentage. It also increases your metabolism, makes you feel, strong. Like, you can't take that away from somebody. Like, feeling strong in your body is a huge confidence booster. So when people understand what I, provide them and what I suggest they do, I find that that's where they become the most empowered. And that's my, we both went through the purpose practice sequence. And, part of mine was moving people to seize the power within. And so what that means to me is, for me, I'm a facilitator of, I'm just a mirror. I'm just a reflection. And I'm here to give you, like, you're doing all the work. You think it's me, but I'm not. It's not me. And so I try to tell people that as often as I can. They'll tell me, oh, I couldn't do it without you, Connor. And I always say, hey, like, that means a lot. Thank you. You're a big part of this too. And, that's a important part to me, because I've gone obviously through my own journey of like understanding like the personal power, and how I've developed that through fitness, that it's a tool to increase that level of self-empowerment, self-confidence, self-belief. So, education's a big part, but to kind of go back a little bit to like the meeting people where they're at, I think that's, the fitness industry is massive in our country.
Yeah.
Online.
Millions of dollars are spent every year, and
It's incredible.
all kinds of facilities get built and renovated.
Renovated. You got the sports center at UConn that's like these, the college kids that are going there now, they're getting spoiled with this like incredible facility. And I don't say spoiled in a derogatory term. I mean,
but where are they going to find anything like it in the real world?
Exactly. They're going to go out, they're going to leave UConn and be like, damn, I remember that. And they're going to have to wait a couple decades to get that everywhere. Maybe.
But it certainly connects to their academic success, I think. They have a way to be fit, as you just said earlier. It also has a lot to do with your learning ability.
Absolutely.
If a kid's not they're not kids, but if they're feeling logy, or they have been, maybe having too much beer on a weekend or whatever, I know, having taught for 50 years, that I can't reach that person the same way. Yet when my athletic students would come in, I'd already know that they were pretty well honed and from a teaching learning standpoint, better able. And I can probably transfer that notion all the way through people's lives, as people are learning challenged all the time, given the changes that we have to experience. So I'm becoming more and more sold on this idea of the fitness practice in our lives.
It's important. Jess Mans, so that's one of our best mutual friends, and I know she says a lot of good things about me, and I'm eternally grateful to her for being such a supporter of me. And so I've been training her for probably like close to 6 years now. And she's just been amazing to work with. And, she's just a champion in the gym. Like, she loves it. She understands the power and the usefulness of it. And, I'm happy that she's so thrilled to share it with others.
Yeah. And I would sense that in Jess, that she not only is obviously an advocate of you and your gym, but she became an independent businesswoman after years in corporate life.
Yeah.
And that means you're a lot of time at home. There are a lot of ups and downs. You got a good thing going, and that goes away, and you've got to hustle up something else. So if she weren't committed to a fitness practice of the sort that you coach her in, I suspect it would be much tougher for her. And she's very successful.
Yeah, she's a great businesswoman, very wise, and she's the connector. I could say that without hearing that from everybody I meet that knows her. I would say that, but everybody that I meet that knows her, they say the same thing. Like, she's such a great just person for connecting people. And, as far as the fitness helping her out, I know that it gives her a sense of stability. Number one, like knowing that she has something to look forward to. That's like gives people some level of enthusiasm that something's good is right around the corner. You might have had a bad day at work, but it's like, tomorrow morning, I know I get to go into the gym. I'm going to break a sweat. It's going to be with a coach I really like, and I'm going to feel great in the morning.
Yeah.
And so there's some, micro doses of hope every single day of like some positivities around the corner, something good that's going to make me feel. It's going to be hard work, of course, but at the end, when you walk out of the doors, you feel 10 times better.
Get those, what do they call those? Endorphins. Yeah.
Well,
there's an awful lot to that notion of being in a position where you want to be able to look forward to something on a regular basis. That's does give you that really good high, good natural high,
Yeah.
and so I'm reinforcing in my head as we're moving along in this conversation that a fitness practice helps you stay in a goal-oriented frame of mind for other things. For example, if you master something that you had a goal in your gym and didn't think you can do it, now you can do it. Now we're in a business situation or a other sport situation, and you think, hey, if I did it at Connor's gym, I can do it anywhere. So perhaps there is this sort of ripple effect of a positive nature for the work you do.
I think you nailed it, Dave. That's actually the first notion for me that got me thinking about my practice statement, seizing the power within. I saw people change dramatically by me having a one-on-one conversation. They got a weight right there sitting in front of them. Let's say it's a deadlift, which can be a little intimidating for people, right?
Yeah.
But it's a deadlift, and they're like, we've been training it for weeks, months, right? And they've been increasing the weight incrementally, making sure the technique is good, they feel good, and everything's going well. And maybe there comes a time where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna push you a little bit more today. I think you can do this. And they might turn and look at me and they're like, yep, they give me that little chin move. They go, they turn their eyes to the side. Yeah. They're just making sure.
Are you serious about that? Yeah. I've done a lot of chin moving in my life, but that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. And then what happens?
Then they execute, right? I give them assurance. That position for me as a coach is to reflect to them the confidence of you can do it. I have belief in you. And then they give that comes in, that rises in themselves. I can do this. I'm going to do it. I've practiced this many, many, many times. Now I just have to do it very focused. I'm going to be very, very, very concentrated. This is my moment. They do it. It's always gone great. And when they're done, they have this look of disbelief. They're coming up, high-fiving everybody. Everyone's clapping for them. And it's like, I think that's a moment for people. I really do.
Absolutely.
Whether it's conscious or unconscious.
Definitely. I'm watching the clock. I'd love to keep this going for a long time, but I do want to get to two things.
Yeah.
One is your business, and because you're a businessman, and I understand it's with your brother.
Yeah, I own a business with my brothers. It's called Lift Performance. It's a sports performance gym, and we're located in Southington, Connecticut.
That's great. And so your brothers have been attracted to do the same, even though they may not have gone to Eastern and begun to exercise science. Do they also have the same philosophy that you do?
Yeah, they've gone on we've all had our separate paths. And along the way, we've all been very active. We've always, we were active growing up together. We played sports together. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us stopped playing sports. And we always stayed in the gym. We always were active. So that lifestyle was very much known to each of us. And there came a point in 2020, believe it or not, after the pandemic had hit in July, there was an opportunity for us to open up a gym. And
wow, that's gutsy.
Yeah. And so we jumped on it. We named it Lift Performance. And, I really brought everything I've learned over all the years into this grain of sand moment. And now it's still growing huge, but now there's a lot of grains of sand. It's becoming a matter, a substance, and in the world. And nice. It's been awesome to do it with my brothers. They've learned a lot along the way. They've helped me tremendously along the way. And, I'm really looking forward to whatever comes next for all of us.
That was the other question that I wanted to ask. You have achieved a great deal, and now you're on a business level. You've also got some achievement going. For you, what is the next mountain you want to climb?
I want to continue to serve people. I want to be able to make an impact and share my knowledge, share my wisdom, share my experience with people. And I think I could do that best when I'm on the gym floor training people. However, I've been doing that for close to 7 years now, and I've been urged from people close to me. I've had feelings myself of being like, maybe there's a stage larger for me where even just my words can have an impact on people. I don't have to have them in the gym where I have to give them physical touch or lead them through a workout. Maybe my words can have a great deal of impact on people. So, I've been thinking about getting into podcasting, and, you've certainly had your journey getting into podcasting, and I'd love to hear about that some more. Because
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's serious fun. It's a great way to reach. You never know how large your audience is, and if you do it, perhaps you would get a much greater than I. But my subject and your subject are not unlike each other. I look at what people choose to do with the time of their life and how they work at it until it comes out in very observable behavior, whether it's a fitness behavior, a teaching behavior, a golf behavior. It's behavior. That's what practice is. And so I get to think about it and talk about it a lot. But I think you have a universal situation to help us address too, because the data's out there saying people are not feeling well overall. There's a lot of stress. The pandemic's left a lot of people emotionally and socially down. And sometimes if they can listen to a nice voice like yours with a very sincere message, maybe while they're doing other things, which is one of the great things about podcasts, you could really have quite an impact.
I appreciate that, Dave. My birthday was actually October 15th. It wasn't too long ago. And Jess, I shared with her that I'd been on another podcast. My first podcast. This is just my second podcast. But my first podcast was early October. And I just told her about it. And Jess being Jess, I told her I like podcasting, all this. She went and bought me a microphone.
Oh my goodness.
So she's really supporting my idea and really supporting my, that spec. She's like, go. So I really appreciate her doing that.
Well, there are a couple of things you can do with the podcast. One of which is, as I am doing now, record them, and then you can create transcripts. There's technology that easily will create transcripts, both in the conversations you have or if you're just talking solo. Those transcripts, then you can take and go through and do some editing, and now you've got a blog. Or you can lift out some surprising ideas that only come up spontaneously, like I will for this podcast, and you can create a quote and put it out on your webpage. So the best podcast that I've studied and I do is conversational. Even if you're speaking solo, you speak not with a script. It's people want to hear like you and I are speaking right now. But wow, there's some really cool gems of ideas that, like you called them, seeds of sand, or pieces of sand that you can come out and compose into something unique. So there's a frontier for you, Colin Connor, and you're on your way. You've already started. In the meantime, keep helping people get better and better and better. We need a lot more Jess Mans out there in the world who are feeling fit and ready to go and tackling these huge challenges that face us every single day. So thank you very, very much for this conversation.
Thank you, Dave. This is an absolute pleasure. And I hope we can do this again real soon.
Yeah, we'll have more that you're learning, and
right.
therefore I want to bring it into the podcast, and I'll be on yours too sometime.
I think
Probably as you know how they say before and after.
Yeah.
If I'm on your podcast, I'll be before, because I'm almost 80 and I'm fairly fit, but nowhere near as after would be. So thank you again.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for listening to the Practice Podcast, where we discuss practice with a capital P. If you'd like to hear more, listen in on Spotify, Automatic, and Apple Podcasts, or go to inactionresearch.com/podcast-page. And if you'd like to learn more about social inaction and the nature of practice, head over to inactionresearch.com for more information. Thank you for supporting this show. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Oh, and one more thing. How could I forget? The book on practice as a way of being is available now in digital form, something that would be new, like podcasting to many of us. And it's a great way of learning more and more about what this podcast presented when Peter Vale and I originated it several years ago. So please come to mylibrary.world/practice, and you'll see what I mean. Thank you.